There you go. That. All right. We are live now. This is Indie Talk with Jesse and Jeryn. And this will be our little pre-show before we bring on the UK star, the franchise player, Shady Nattrass. So just wanted to come on here, give some announcements, and then we'll bring Shady on. So I'll give it to Jesse.
All right, good evening, guys. All right, so part of the pre-show is we're gonna announce our wrestlers of the week. Then Jeryn has an announcement as well, and then we're gonna bring Shady on. There's really not too much happening going on with indie wrestling right now. Friday we'll probably know more with cards and stuff like that. But my pick for wrestler of the week is the natural Nick Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
The program.
From the program. Oh, or can you say that again? It was glitching out there, just so we get it on camera.
So for my pick for wrestler of the week is I'm gonna pick Nick the Natural Nelson, who represents the program.
All right. And then for me, I think kind of want to switch it up just for this week. We're gonna do a tag team. So I'm gonna choose Joseph Alexander and Derek Theory of the Summit. So Summit first ever tag, well, I guess second tag team if we're counting Verk and System, but pretty much maybe second/first tag team wrestlers of the week. So yeah, they're good dudes. Yeah. And then just one more announcement before we bring Shady on. You guys don't know, it's a birthday for me today, and it's a golden birthday, which is pretty cool. Waited 20 years for this exact day. And yeah, happy golden birthday for me, turning 20, and no longer a teen, no longer a kid, finally a man now. So I've been seeing a lot of your birthday posts on my Facebook timeline and Messenger, and just anywhere, text messages. So it's really cool to get birthday messages from all you guys. I definitely appreciate it. So yeah. And without further ado, I think
let's bring the UK man.
Let's get Shady on. Shady's been excited for this. So
yeah, I figured it's just been kind of exciting because we never had a UK person on before.
Yeah. Oh, JJ Rogue said Jesse made the right choice.
Of course I did, JJ, but you see, you still need one of these shirts, JJ. 25.
Yeah, JJ, look at it. $25. Yeah, guys, if you guys don't have a shirt, go follow the instructions on we link it up to every post. It's pretty much $25 on Cashapp that goes to Mr. Bullybrand of the Bullybrand LLC and helps rehome dogs, and it's definitely a really special cause for them, and we're excited that we have shirts out. So yeah,
we are really excited about that. So
yeah, and it looks like Shady's entered the waiting room, so let's let in. All right, he's admitted.
Try to board Pete King tonight.
Yeah.
Wonder if he'll show up and stir the pot.
I wonder if. All right, you there, Shady?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Good evening there, Shady.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. You got a nice collection behind you there.
Yeah, that's just part of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. So yeah, let's do a little reintroduction. So This is Indie Talk with Jesse and Jeryn, featuring UK star, the franchise player, Shady Nattrass. So got our first guy from the UK here. This is really cool. Expanding out from the Midwest. So excited to hear your story. Mhm.
Yeah, well, it's been a long career for me so far, so hopefully I've got some good things to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's something interesting. So yeah. Oh, actually, can you adjust your volume? It's coming in a little crackly right now. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know if it's like Wi-Fi or something, but
Yeah, I kind of know he was a little crackly too, but it's not his fault.
yeah. If now we can like reiterate some of the stuff, so oh, it comes in better. But... All right, sure. Getting some comments on here, so that's a good thing. We'll address those in a sec.
Yeah,
Better?
sounds
Is
a
it-
little bit.
Or try again, yeah.
Yeah, is that better?
Sounds
Oh, there
better.
we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, so well, let's start with the good beginner questions. So talk about how you got into watching wrestling.
Well, I've got three brothers, so back in early 90s, that's when I got into it. Must have been about 91. Unfortunately, in the UK, we didn't have a lot of access to wrestling on the TV. We had WCW, which would get shown in the middle of the night on a weekend. So my parents would always record it for us, and things led from there. And it was as soon as WWF became available, that was kind of it. I was hooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's always cool to see. I mean, obviously, we all pretty much started with WWF/E and WCW. I was born a little bit past WCW ended, but obviously, big leagues. That's how we all found it. So yeah, and then when did you start training, and where did you start training?
I started training in 1999. And back then there was only really one known school in the UK, and that was Hammerlock. But that was like a lot of hours away for us. And we, at the time, I was only 16, so it was too much for me to take. I don't think my mum would have been very happy if I had decided to travel there. So we had found through Power Slam magazine there was a training school opened in a place called Blackpool, which was just over an hour away. So we started there. Unfortunately, typical wrestling carny action, we got ripped off big time. So but it got us started. And it's what we wanted to do from there, and that was us. We were in wrestling from then, so we weren't giving up on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Looking through the Facebook comments right here, we got APW All Out Pro Wrestling owner Pete King says the man is here. So thank you for your comment, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
And then we got someone who knows you. JJ Rogue says superstar, get it right. I'm sorry, JJ. This is a superstar, Shady Nattrass right here. So
That Jay piece of work, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Love
good old JJ. You want to
Yeah,
talk about
He's a good friend of mine, JJ. So it's he's doing well for himself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Seems to
Where
be
did your friendship start with him?
On podcast that he was on Jaded Wrestling podcast, and that's that led to that friendship.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was surprised to see that we got mutual friends. I'm like, JJ Road. I'm like, really cool. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely really cool. We both met JJ through having him on this podcast a couple months ago and seeing him at some shows, and I was in Eagan, Minnesota here in the States. So yeah, definitely a good dude and quite the character. So he loves money. So
I think it's a raffle myself, but that's just me.
yeah. Oh man.
JJ knows how me and Jeryn feels about him, so
Mhm.
it's all good.
Yeah, positive thoughts for the most part, but nice. JJ's a good guy, I'm sure. He's just with the program and everything. I don't know, but I am a supporter of the program, so good dude. Yeah.
But you the program. Remember JJ said that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, speaking of JJ, he just said Shady is looking great. Keep hitting that gym. So there you go.
Yeah, that's where I seem to be spending most of my time at the moment. I've got my first booking in the States in November, so I'm getting myself making sure I'm ready for that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Your first show ever in the States? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's really cool. And that's definitely really cool after 20 years, right? Almost about 19.
20, it'll be
Two?
2021 now, because it was 2001 I had my first match. So
2001 year. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely really cool. So getting out there. So yeah. Jesse?
So who is your favorite UK performer?
currently,
Yes.
currently I would say either Joe Lando or Josh Terry, who has been on NXT UK's Josh Morrell. Both two really good high flyers, but they can work as well. And I've worked with both of them, and just so much fun. The UK is full of talent from people like Mike Kirby. Mike Kirby is probably the best all-round wrestler in the UK as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You could put him in any role and he'd fit in perfectly and do a great job. He even got to work Jushin Liger at a UK show, and he also did a tour with Dragon Gate. So he knows his stuff. So yeah, there's so much talent in the UK right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was watching or I saw through your Facebook that you faced a lot of guys. They looked like a lot of cool events you've been a part of. So might have to check that out on YouTube or something and get acquainted with that side. So yeah. Oh yeah, on Facebook here, our good friend Jackson Black, the Wrestle Talk podcast and wrestler in Tennessee. Says he loves your pop collection, which is definitely a good collection there.
Wait a second, I've got a good one.
Jeez, look at all that. Pop toys have been really popular as of late.
Yeah, they
Second,
have.
where's my camera?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, is that you? There you go.
My Shady Nattrass one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Even with his I Hate Wrestling Fans t-shirt on.
there you go. Did you use a Stone Cold for that?
I got it made for us, so it was a nice gift.
Oh, okay. Oh, someone made it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I actually make custom figures to the guys in the Midwest here in the States, and they really appreciate it. I've sold a good number, and yeah, they definitely really like it. I use Mattel wrestling figures, the WWE
Yeah.
figures. So yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely really cool, and just getting out there, getting a little popular with that, and it's good to support wrestlers, even if it's through little figures. Yeah,
It's always good for the wrestlers, just a little bit of a boost, because it's something cool that, you know what I mean. If you just worked in an office job, nobody would be making an action figure of you. So
yeah,
things like that, it's like they're the cool moments that we experience as wrestlers, and that's why I do it. Things like that. I'm not in wrestling to make a ton of money, because unless you're in the top, you're not gonna. And I wrestle because I love it, and I have I wrestled my favorite wrestler, Al Snow. Al Snow was always my favorite wrestler as a teenager, and when I got to wrestle him, it's like, you know what I mean, you're wrestling your hero or whatever. And
yeah.
it was a cool moment for me, and he didn't think I was the worst wrestler ever, so I was happy with that. He thought it was good, so yeah, it was a good moment.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool, and your hero says you're not trash. So, and,
Well,
it's working.
that was yeah.
You never know what they say.
It's well known how Al Snow can react to poor wrestlers, whether it's in
Right.
on a show or training and things, and obviously that was playing in the back of my mind when I was wrestling. So no, it was an experience for me, and that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Jesse.
So what was your thoughts when NXT UK finally shut down, and now all the NXT UK wrestlers are actually going on NXT now?
Well, it's strange, because a lot of them also didn't get contract extensions, so there's a lot of the NXT UK talent now coming back onto the indie scene in the UK. So it's going to provide loads of experience for the UK wrestlers to pick up things that they wouldn't have learned before. But on the WWE side, I just think if they are going to evolve into a NXT Europe, is it that much bigger than just having an NXT UK and using the European wrestlers? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say until they kind of actually announce anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of big news, and I thought it was going great. I wasn't watching a whole lot of it, but just from like seeing videos, I thought it was going pretty good. And I guess they have to do. They got to do what's best for business, I guess. If you're Triple H.
But that's what a lot of people do forget. Wrestling is a business, and you can't always have what every fan wants, because financially it doesn't make sense, or you can make money elsewhere. It is a business at the end of the day, and yeah, I do think that's often overlooked.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh. What is your finishing and signature move, and can you describe what it is too?
Okay, my finishing move is a pump handle fisherman buster.
Sure.
Which, so you hook them as if you're going to have a fisherman buster, but instead of hooking the leg, you have their right leg through their legs, and then you pick them up and then brain buster. And other than that, I use the roll of the dice, which Crossroads but I stole it from Reno in WCW, which is why I still refer to it as roll of the dice.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. It's always cool to hear about finishing moves. I mean, you gotta have a good finishing move. You gotta get over with the crowd, and it's gotta
Yeah,
look good.
it's
So
it's a move that I'm protecting. I'm not having anybody kick out of it because it's meant to be a finishing move. So the reason why it's called the finishing move is finishes the match. So yeah, things like that are often overlooked.
Yeah, definitely. Looking in the comments, both Facebook and Instagram, if you guys got any questions, we got the franchise player Shady Nattrass right here. So ask away any questions, ask away some comments. JJ, if you want to pop in some more, P King, Jackson Blacks. So,
Come on, guys.
Can't get enough comments and questions. So
well, you know, Pete King likes to run his mouth. He's been kind of quiet tonight. You're boring me.
Yeah, Pete King, he runs the promotion All Out Pro Wrestling in Wisconsin here in the States, and it's been quite a good viewer of our show, but sometimes he's playing a heel character as he's protecting his world champion Matthias right now. So he's trying to be like a Vince McMahon. Yeah, but he's a good dude. So
Yeah. We like Pete.
I think in today's day and age, it's a kind of a hard, like a fine line between where to play your character and where to be real, if that makes sense. Because like my character, as I say, wears the I Hate Wrestling Fans t-shirt, and essentially he's a miserable veteran. That's as simple as it goes, because I have been told that is like my normal face is just miserable, so I don't have to try to do that. So, but in reality, I just want wrestling to grow, and at the end of the day, we're all in wrestling together, from the wrestlers to the promoters to the fans. It's all meant to be like we all love wrestling. It's already a niche market. Why narrow it down? So as I said, trying to get that fine line between when I wrestle, I want you to hate me, but at the same time, you know what I mean? I like to think I'm not totally hateable in real life.
Yeah, definitely. Pete King says you're fired. Oh man, there goes Pete. What are some of the wrestling promotions you've worked for?
Target Wrestling, which is a big one in my local area. PCW, and the PCW have had a lot of big shows and big names over the years. I've also worked for Discovery up in Scotland, Pro 2 Wrestling in Scotland. Just all the UK is full of promotions that have talent that's worth watching. So we kind of spoiled because the UK is obviously a lot smaller than the US. We have everything's reachable. So even like if you travel 4 hours, you've covered a big distance of the UK, but you could get to another big show. Most places are reachable within a few hours. So the UK seems spoilt for promotions. So yeah, I just get anywhere that I can. I just enjoy working different places in front of new fans and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just here we're both in Minnesota, and there's like 8 different promotions within the cities, the Minneapolis area, and just insane how much wrestling you can find within like those few hours, and just like, oh, there's a show this weekend, there's a show this weekend, there's like 5 shows this weekend. So it's incredible how much their wrestling's out there.
It's strange because in the UK, it's wrestling still isn't really taken seriously, and the
Yeah.
fact that there is so much wrestling that happens in the UK and the talent that's on show, I think it's quite phenomenal, really, how it isn't as a bigger deal than it is. But it's one of those things you kind of take it with a pinch of salt, because everybody still in the UK, you just a lot of them you just get, oh well, you know, it's fake. It's it's just like I've never when I was a fan, I never questioned it being fake because I didn't care. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it, so that was it. And that the whole being fake never really bothered me, because, as I say, it was what I enjoyed watching. I don't question whether Game of Thrones is real or fake.
Yeah.
And people enjoy that. So
yeah.
do you know what I mean? That's how I was kind of taking it.
Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, that I've seen a few like comparisons, like people compare wrestling and movies when they try to explain, like, yes, wrestling is, I mean, it's scripted, but that doesn't mean it's like bad or anything, because like Iron Man, of course, isn't real. You can't fly in a metal suit. So yeah.
But one thing that, from a wrestler's point of view, is the comparison to movies is a lot of wrestlers misunderstand that your story of your match, it's the same as any film you watch. If you watch a film, you've got your beginning, you've got your meaty bit in the middle, then you've got your finish, and that's a wrestling match.
Yeah,
and people like wrestlers overlook it when they're putting the matches together. It's like, tell the story.
yeah, it's just telling a story. That's what it's all about. So yeah. Jesse.
So have you ever got to meet Wade Barrett, Nick Aldis, or William Regal?
I haven't met Wade Barrett. I worked a show for Tiger Wrestling with Nick Aldis, and I've never met Regal, but the guy from Blackpool, which is where Regal's from, that trained me, that ripped me off. I've heard from good sources that Regal doesn't like him either. So
There you go.
a wrestler that was originally nearby, Johnny Moss, he's actually one of the trainers for NXT at the Performance Center. So I know him quite well, and it was him that said about Regal not liking that. I'll say a wrestler, but he's barely a wrestler.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us a good wrestling story that you have.
Probably, okay, I could say a story where the first time I wrestled Paul London, and Paul's like one of my closest friends now, which that in itself is ridiculous for me. I'm from a small city in the UK. And I've told him before, like, I remember vividly having the VHS Ring of Honor tape sent through the post from the tape trader, which had his first Ring of Honor match on, and like he sent us a video message when it was my daughter's birthday to say happy birthday to her, things like that. It's like it's pretty cool having wrestling experiences like that. But when we first when we first wrestled, I had just recovered from glandular fever, which had seriously wiped me out for 2 weeks. So I thought, okay, well, I feel like I can do the match. So we do the first spot, and I take a powder to the floor, and I'm lying on the floor, and I'm thinking, oh no, I think I'm gonna die here. So we did a little bit of a brawl on the outside. He rolls me back into the ring, and he goes to do his slingshot Oklahoma roll. Unfortunately, he drives his shoulder into my elbow, and I think he's broke my arm right away. Like I'm in agony. So I roll out the ring and kind of see how it is. And he checks to see if I can carry on. And I said, yeah, but I says you'll have to carry the match because I'm just trying not to pass out from the pain. So we do a few spots, and he's checking every time he does a move. He's checking, making sure I'm safe. And then he fixes up and goes, I forgot what's next. And it's like it's a good job I'm keeping track. But then we have the match, and like he goes over with the shooting star, and the place goes nuts, and he starts putting us over on the microphone, and I'm in the corner clutching my elbow, and my mum was actually on the outside of the ring on the other side, opposite corner to us, and she can see us. She says, as he's saying all these things about me, she says, I could see your lip going like when you were crying as a child. Like,
Oh,
and
man.
like I just hugged him and says you're gonna have to stop because I'm just gonna burst into tears. And we just had an emotional connection, and we've worked again since, and it just works every time we wrestle. Always one of us ends up in hospital, but because the second time we wrestled, he wanted me to give him a back body drop on the floor, and I says, it's a concrete floor, I don't feel comfortable doing that, but there's a stage, so we'll do it on the stage. So back to the spot, back drop him onto the stage. The ref comes to us, he's split his head open. So I'm sat, he's there bleeding. I'm sat with my face in my hands, like, oh my god. But we carried on the match, and it just added to it, and it made moments, and that's do you know what I mean? It wasn't, as it accidents happen in wrestling, and the fact that we are good friends, we knew there was no malice intended.
Yeah. And that definitely is an interesting story. And then you become friends with Paul. Jesus. There you go.
It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. I've got to spend time and hang out with so many like wrestlers that, like I said earlier, if I was doing an office job, I wouldn't have like a peer that I would think, oh, it would be cool to hang out with. Whereas like I went to a local gym with Bob Holly, and then we went to the supermarket, and we're like, he was awesome. He was just a cool dude, and that's you know what I mean. Little stories like that. I wouldn't have experiences if it wasn't for wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you never know who you're gonna meet in the wrestling world, and it's especially like in the independents. Like, never thought in like just 20 years I never thought in like 20 years I'd be able to meet like Eric Bischoff. I just met Eric Bischoff over the weekend at in North Dakota at a company called Below Zero Wrestling. I'm like, hi Eric, how's it going? I just asked, how's your trip? And he said it's relaxing and I enjoyed it very much. I'm like, talking to Eric Bischoff right now. Jesus.
You were
Yeah.
marking.
Mhm. It's insane.
Like,
Yeah.
one of the ones for me is like when we started, the whole mentality was a wrestler can't get a photo with another wrestler because it makes you a mark, and they're meant to be on the same level as you, and regardless of if they work WWE or whatever. But my youngest daughter Nova, when she was born, she went to her first wrestling show 3 days later.
Wow. There you go.
And then there was a show the day after as well. So she went on the 4th. So she was 4 days old, and I wrestled Ricochet that day, and I've got a picture of my 4-day-old baby with Ricochet. And anytime we had shows in the local area, I'd always taken over with us, and I've got photos of her and Blue Meanie, her and Jay Lethal, her and Candice LeRae, Juventud Guerrera. It's just crazy, but it's a cool memory thing. So yeah, it's like I said before, it's for me it is pretty insane that we've had these moments.
Mhm. Yeah. Definitely special moments too. So it's definitely really cool. Mhm. Looking at Facebook here, APW owner Pete King says, how much different is wrestling in the UK compared to the US?
From an in-ring perspective, at the moment, to be honest, I don't think there's much difference. I think it's actually very similar. There isn't a lot of the British style, like the world of sport now as there was. You have a few promotions that will regularly use them stipulations, but on a whole, it is very similar to the US. I think we have the British style now is very much a hybrid of the American style with the British style, but then obviously you've got your Japanese influence still in there. So yeah, it's very much a mix of styles, and that works for me. I've always kind of tried to be as versatile in the ring as possible, because my favorite wrestling matches that I have, aren't necessarily the style of wrestling that I like. I'm a big fan of the WCW Cruiserweights, 94 Super J, that sort of wrestling. But at the same time, some of my best matches have been just American Pro style main event, good guy, bad guy, or I wrestled Sugar Dunkerton, and we had an absolutely ridiculous match with no sense to it. Well, I say no sense to it whatsoever. It actually made sense as it was, but it wasn't very technical wrestling, if shall we say. But so like having worked the different styles of opponents that I have, I've kind of organically styled my wrestling to fit around that, because regardless of my opponent, all my matches feel like Shady matches. So it doesn't matter if I'm against a heavyweight or a cruiserweight, my side will always kind of still do the same things. So rather than every match, yeah, it's the whole, well, it's another John Cena match. Every match of John Cena's people, we know what he's going to do. But there's also a reason. There's also a reason why wrestlers do that. because it means that the fans can follow them and get behind them. Like we were saying before about finishes, you're building a finisher to make it important. Wrestlers repeats the moves to make them important. So then you can use them to, oh, well, I know what's going to happen. He's going to, oh, no, he's reversed it. And you've got them.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, reversals in wrestling, that's always a big thing. Like when like WrestleMania 29, John Cena reverses the rock bottom and reverse the AA, and that was a special moment with just reversals. So yeah. Yeah. Jesse.
So speaking of Paul London, there's a guy here in Minnesota that kind of reminds me of Paul London, and his name is Levy Cruz. So if you get a chance, check him out, or me or Jeryn can send you some clips of his matches too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always willing to watch new faces, because it's all, like I was saying before, wrestling's all wrestling. We're all in the same boat. So the more I can take in of anything, the better. If you watch, even if you watch bad wrestling, if you watch it and go, okay, well, he was really out of place there, and it looked wrong, you know in your head, okay, well, if I'm in that situation, if I take a step to the left, it'll come across better. Little things like that, people overlook how much they can pick up from watching wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Where can fans purchase your merchandise?
Shady Nattrass.bigcartel.com, and it's if you are in the US, there isn't international shipping. It'll just be shipping in the US, so you can save a few pennies that way.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, darn international shipping. It's insane, man. Like,
yeah,
you can't even order an action figure without like $30 shipping. I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess we can get into a little name association. So I just looked through your social media and found some names that you'll probably know, guys you faced or had an interaction with. So I just want to get your point of views on a couple of these guys from the first time you met them, or just talk about who they are, who they mean to you. So I know you talked about, or for this first name, I know you talked about him a bit, but JJ Rogue.
like if I think if I could work in the States regularly, I'd want to work with JJ, because I think we'd have a blast. And he always likes to send me his stuff, and kind of so I can give him feedback and things on it, because different eyes on things I could spot things that somebody that was at the show with him maybe didn't see. So yeah, different eyes. So hopefully, I can help him improve still, and even though he's doing a great job.
Yeah. Polish Barry.
For Polish Barry, I worked him a couple of months back, and he's an upcoming wrestler in the northwest of England, and he's just loved by everybody. I don't know what it is about him. I can't put my finger on why everybody gets behind him, but he's good enough in the ring, so it's what adds to it all.
Yeah. TJ Rage.
TJ Rage is a Scottish wrestler that I've known for a long time. I think I challenged him for the Pro 2 Heavyweight Championship a couple of months back, and I think it may have been our first singles match we've had against each other, and it was like a fun main event match, and unfortunately, he got to keep his title up there, so maybe get it down the line somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. Future title match. There you go. So yeah. Former TNA star / current NWA star Douglas Williams.
Doug's outstanding. I managed to wrestle him a couple of years back, and strangely enough, wrestling the UK wrestlers, like the bigger UK names, I am often a lot more nervous than any US names, because a lot of the guys from the US are just in and out, whereas the Brits are on the scene. So there's that little added pressure of, okay, well, if I do bad, it's gonna be spread around that I had a bad match with him or whatever. But he's just so good, and everything he does is so deliberate. And that chaos theory German suplex is just amazing. I think it looks brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Martin Kirby.
Yeah, as I said earlier, Martin Kirby's probably best all-round wrestler in the UK. He's probably one of the wrestlers I've wrestled the most over the years. But until last year, we hadn't had a special match, if you know what I mean, a match that would just, it clicked for, everything was just a decent match. So he'd actually retired just before COVID and lockdown happened. But then when we came out of lockdown, he came back out of retirement. So I cut a promo on him saying how it's unfair that now COVID's gone, he just comes out of retirement and everybody's meant to forget about all the time in between his time when he was retired, when us wrestlers had to put in the hard work and basically we did the whole, if you just go now, we'll leave it at that, just say I won. And then he was slowly walking back. The fans were trying to get him to come back to the ring. And then he eventually ran back in and we had this really good match, which unfortunately he won. You'll probably notice a lot of matches I'm on the losing end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my thinking behind it is always who can get the most from winning or losing. And a lot of the time, for me, the face will be the one that can gain more than me, because as the heel character, just gives me something to complain about. Because the referee was useless. He shouldn't have pinned me then. The management shouldn't have put me in that match. I wasn't ready for that match. Just being able to add to your character, and I'm all about anything that can add to me, whether it's character or spots or moves or anything. It's all got to be melded together to be as good as we can be, really.
Yeah, definitely. Next name, Mark Coffey or Kofi.
Mark Coffey. Mark's now on NXT, and he's such a good wrestler, and I think because he tends to be a tag team wrestler, he's often overlooked for how good he actually is. And at Target Wrestling, he was part of Polo Promotions with Jackie Polo, and they were like the ultimate faces in our hometown of Carlisle. They like the reaction they would get. They had a match with Mustache Mountain, and I think it was maybe 10 minutes back and forth chanting before the match even started. The crowd were that into it. It was, they didn't even have to do anything, and it was just insane.
Yeah, something like that is always special. Well, it wasn't a match for that when AJ and John Cena first met each other. There was just like 10 minutes of just them chanting back and forth, and like it's definitely a special moment when something like that happens. So yeah. And our next name, Mayhem Brooks.
Man, Brooks, he was going to be my first match back after COVID. But the show got announced, the matches got announced, and then there was a lockdown extension. So the show got cancelled, and I never got to work with him yet. So hopefully somewhere down the line we will get that match up.
Yeah. Current NXT star Roderick Strong.
Toughest wrestling match I've ever had. It was pretty brutal. And it's one of the matches that I beat myself up most afterwards, because there was some, I wouldn't say botches, but more miscommunications. And my thought is always, okay, well, I'm the nobody against the name. I'm obviously wrong. But then the more I was thinking about it, it was like, no, I was right. I was right. I should have done that. And it was just minor things that nobody else would even probably realize. But because I am very much my biggest critic, and I'd probably say I have wrestling OCD. So when things don't go right, it plays on my mind, and as I say, I kind of started doubting myself, and it was such a good match. And like, as I say, the man's a machine. He's the best wrestler I've been in the ring with, easily.
Yeah, definitely. Just a few more names here. Mark Haskins.
Yeah, Mark is another one that a match got announced for. This was a few years back, and it never came through for whatever reason. And yeah, Mark is a quality wrestler, and the fact that he was signed to Ring of Honor, and I think he was signed to Impact at one point as well. He seems to have a few controversial opinions on real life things, which I think is rubbing people the wrong way, which is understandable. But as far as in ring talent, he's really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know he was in ROH. Oh, I gotta keep up with the times, man. Oh man. Two more names here. Sugar Dunkerton.
Yeah, Sugar is somebody who keeps me motivated. Whether like I have told him before, is whether he realizes it or not. Seeing some of the posts he puts on Twitter and things, they definitely keep me going, because being a pro wrestler is really tough mentally if things aren't going your way for whatever reason. So realizing that we all kind of go through these phases. It's like it's a bit of a weight off your shoulders, really. And like I said before, when I got to work with him, it was a lot of fun, and it kind of I hate doing comedy wrestling, but because of my miserable character, it's really good for the comedy wrestler to play off. So it works really well. So it made sense to do it, and it was a lot of fun. And I was always a big fan of Shakara, so getting to work with Shug was a lot of fun.
Oh man, yeah. Then last name either I'm not sure if he's still with the company with him being the NXT UK star, but this NXT star Mark Andrews.
Another one, Mark is another one that got injured before we got to have our match. I think Mark would be a perfect opponent for me. He's another example of the high flying talent that comes out of the UK. And yeah, he's somebody that I would really enjoy working with. I always enjoy working with the cruiserweights. I think I kind of surprise a lot of people because I don't really always do that style, and then when I do it, it kind of annoys them because a lot of the reactions are, "Oh, I forgot he was a good wrestler."
Yeah.
So kind of having that in my back pocket, I think it, like I was saying earlier, just adds to my character. But yeah, Mark's top quality.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, let's look at the Facebook comments here. JJ Rogue just asked, what is the best and worst advice Shady has received in wrestling?
The best is probably, and I don't think it was even given to me directly. Just shut your mouth and keep your ears open.
Oh.
It's such a lot of wrestlers forget that it's called professional wrestling, so we should act professionally. And not saying that they all go around creating havoc. Be aware that you should be acting professionally. And I don't even mean the people that were called out during speaking out and things. Just in general, just act professionally around other wrestlers, around promoters, around fans. It does kind of annoy me a bit when I'm at a show and I see people maybe like being a bit too boisterous when fans are nearby. And I'm all for wrestlers having a good laugh backstage and things, because do you know what I mean, wrestling has to be fun for us. But yeah, just I think a lot of wrestlers could do with remembering it is professional wrestling. And as far as worst advice, I wouldn't say particularly anything, because wrestling's so subjective that there's not always a right and wrong. If you did a training seminar with John Cena, he could tell you one thing, but if you did one with Tanahashi, he could tell you something totally different. And neither of them's wrong. It's just how you bring it to your style. So as long as everything's safe, in like any any advice I've been given has been opinion rather than don't do that, do this. It's, oh, I would have done this, for example, but knowing what I know and what we knew in the match, it was, if we had done that, it wouldn't have made sense what we were doing as a whole. So yeah, it's, I wouldn't say I've had bad advice.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Jesse.
Well, Jeryn, I think it's time we probably wrap it up and let Shady enjoy the rest of his night.
You mean go to bed?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
It's
it's
3
early.
a.m. 3
Oh,
a.m.
it's 3 a.m. there. Yeah, I forgot. That's right. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. over here still. Very different times right there. Yeah. Oh man.
we better let Shady get going. He probably has to work in a few hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was definitely awesome to talk to you, our first UK guy, and definitely fun just to hear your stories of how you worked with the London and Ricochet and so the like, what do they have again? Mayhem Brooks, Mark Haskins, and just definitely cool to hear your spectrum of how the UK is going and just how your career has spanned. So yeah. All right, Jesse, you want to close up?
So Shady, be looking for a message from me. I'm gonna hook you up with some promoters here in Minnesota to see if they would be interested in bringing you in to some of their companies, do some wrestling shows.
That would be amazing. I would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely get on that. You should probably have it sometime within the next few hours.
Yeah, I got good connections here, so
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, thanks again, and we'll talk soon then.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, fans, thank you for watching. We're gonna end the live here now, so have a nice night. All right, almost there.